Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Yachats Commons. This is a program of the Yachats Academy of Arts and Sciences, abbreviated to the Academy. We were using Yaz for a while, and people didn't think that was such a hot name, so we're going to refer to it as the Academy. We've done 3 or 4 events, and the idea is to have an event a month and to take advantage of some of the expertise that we have right in our own community, scientific, artistic. And so we have been planning several events all the way through March, April of next year. In September, Stacy Harper will give a presentation on nanotechnology. Phyllis Steves, who is here now, is the archaeologist for the U.S. Forest Service in this area. She will give us a talk. Matt Love, who writes for Coast Today and is a English professor at Newport High School, was the caretaker for the Cascade Head wildlife area for 10 years, and author of several books, will be here in November. Solstice event, December 21st, which is a Tuesday evening, big bonfire out by the picnic shelter, and a whole bunch of events leading up to that bonfire solstice event, including the holiday celebration in Yachats. All of these will be printed out, a whole schedule of events. So that's some of the things we have planned. I've known Jim and his wife Ursula for almost 30 years. I was trying to think how to introduce him. And one experience that stands out in my mind is we used to get together and play poker on a very regular basis. Jim is the only poker player I know that doesn't bluff. 2 cards down, he looks at it and folds. This is a nickel, dime, quarter game. Say, Jim, put in a nickel, come on. The problem is when he holds them, and then holds the next one, you don't know what he's up to. And I've called his bluff a couple times, and they're good hands, very good hands, and he wins. So Jim has been involved in many activities. He was on the Lincoln County Planning Commission for a while. He still serves on the Lincoln Land Legacy Committee. And they make decisions on protecting various properties, lands here in Lincoln County. They've been instrumental in the conservation easement on the Gattell property by the Amanda Trail, and also on the Gerdeman Botanical Preserve. So most of you know Jim and Ursula, so please let's give Jim a warm welcome.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks to the Academy and the Friends for sponsoring these things. They're great. I missed the last one. I'm not going to miss the next one. And if you take nothing else away from this today, I would like you all to remember that Adler never bluffs. That's a really valuable reputation. When Jerry Kimmel approached me a number of months ago about presenting water quality monitoring to a group of people, I thought, why not? I mean, I put people to sleep for years talking about it, and this would be a personal best to do it to a whole room. And then I thought, well, this isn't about my personal best, so I might as well try and make it interesting. And as it is the Academy of Arts and Sciences, I thought I'm more artist than I am scientist. So I wanted to tell you a story. And the story is how I came to be an environmentalist. That, in and of itself, isn't terribly interesting, except that I believe that it is typical of the experience of a lot of us who lived around here, who have become real environmentalists. I mean, like Paul Engelmeyer and Chuck Willer and the Van Strums, and people who have had a huge effect on, national politics, and certainly through the state. And I'm not saying I'm one of them. I happen to be in the same kind of position at about the same time. And what occurred to me in thinking about the whole group of us is that we all kind of got stuck. That we found ourselves caught doing something that we couldn't get out of. And we had to continue because we became kind of the only people who could do it. And ultimately, I mean, for a few of them, it became, I mean, like for Paul and Chuck, it became a lifetime, and they became extremely effective at what they're doing. They are, you know, at the very head of a lot of environmental endeavors. I have been in and out of it, and I'd like to tell you my experience, which is kind of emblematic of all of ours. And first, let me start with a metaphor, and that is, imagine that you are sitting on a mountaintop in the Coast Range, and it's a gorgeous day. You are looking out over the valley, and it's perfectly clear, and you can see forever, and you look around on the other side, and you can look down the hills, and you can turn around and see the ocean. And way down, way across the valley, you see a train coming up the valley, and it's going in and out of the contours and slowly chugging its way up toward you. And you look and you see the tracks down next to the river around you, and goes around to the river and then crosses the river on the trestle. And suddenly you look at the trestle, and you realize that it's been washed away. The rails are hanging down into the river. The ties are floating along in the next to the rocks. And you realize that that train that is coming toward you is going to fall in the river. So you run down into town, and you run into the door of the train agency, and you tell the people, the trestle's down. There's going to be a train wreck. You have to do something. And they say, no. That trestle was designed by the best engineers in the world. It is inspected regularly. There is absolutely nothing the matter with it. And you say, no, I just saw it. I just saw it. There is nothing there. The train is going through it. And they say, no, it can't happen. So then you do what any sensible person would do in that situation, is you start screaming. And you start screaming, it's going to be a train wreck. There is going to be a train wreck. And as you're screaming, there are people outside who hear you, and they start saying, train wreck? There's going to be a train wreck? That is the precise moment at which you become a bigger problem than the train wreck.